I wanted to take a little time to discuss our science spin, take a little science minute or two or few, and talk about the impact that we as people have on our planet. And we've talked a little bit about this year, but not as much as I want to with you. And so what we're going to do is actually read this together. The problem with plastic. We use a lot of plastic as humans. We have discovered that plastic is cheap to make into containers. And so we buy water in it. We buy many, many food products in plastic. When I was a little girl, which was a long time ago, I remember that bottles of ketchup were glass and bottles of pancake syrup were glass. Many things were glass containers. Pop bottles you could buy in glass bottles, not plastic, or you could buy aluminum cans. Well, actually, when I was little, they might have even been tin. I think I remember when they changed to aluminum and became lighter. So things have changed. Of course, the world changes and new things are invented. And I remember a little bit of when things started appearing in plastic. And it was kind of a new material. And then we thought it was pretty great, right? It was lighter. If you dropped it, it didn't shatter. It was cheap to make. We thought it was great. And we use plastic a lot. If I look around our classroom right now, we have plastic plexiglass. The crate that I put my phone in when I'm working on workbook pages is plastic. And all of our book tubs are plastic. And so many things that we use are plastic. The problem with materials like plastic is that when we throw them away, they don't rot. So if you throw food scraps away or paper and it gets buried in a landfill, for example, it doesn't take long and the material breaks down and it rots away and it kind of becomes part of the soil again. But if you take a plastic container or plastic bags, Ziploc bags, grocery sacks, all of those things, and you bury them in the ground, they don't rot. They stay there for hundreds, if not thousands of years. So the problem with plastics is that as we create more and more of these containers and we put them, we're done using them and we throw them away, they end up somewhere. And where they end up can cause trouble and they take up a lot of space. So this story is all about the plastic problem created by golf balls. So golf balls are actually like rubber on the inside. There must be some plastic material involved there as well. Let's just get right into this, and I'm sure we'll talk. There is a video that goes with this. Maybe when you can come back, we can kind of go back and use some of the video links and check this out. So here we have a couple of youngsters who decide that they're going to help grab golf balls that have ended up on the ocean floor. And so this is the story, the golf ball cleanup, how a California teen led a team to remove golf balls from the Pacific Ocean. Alex, who's on the left, and her friend Jack Johnston would gather at least 500 balls every time they dove. So they're diving down into the ocean and they're gathering golf balls. Well, how did all of those golf balls get there? 4 years ago, Alex Weber was diving with her father in the waters off Pebble Beach, California. Suddenly, she spotted something strange. Thousands of golf balls all over the ocean floor. Alex, who is 20 today, was alarmed. She began collecting golf balls each time they went diving. Her dad and some friends helped. They would easily gather at least 500 a day. The balls didn't stop coming, said Alex. That's because golf courses line that part of California's coast. The coast is the part that's right up against the edge of the water, the ocean. Golfers had been hitting balls into the ocean every day for decades. A decade is 10 years, so groups of multiples of 10. Alex wondered why someone wasn't fixing the problem. She decided to try. So instead of going, oh, that's sad, and walking away, She involved herself and became part of the solution. Pieces of plastic. Alex thought the problem would be easy to fix. She went to the owners of golf courses and told them about all the balls in the ocean. But the businesses didn't seem concerned. So Alex emailed Matthew Savoca, a biologist at Stanford University in California. He studies how plastic pollution affects ocean life. Savoca didn't know about the golf ball problem until Alex told him. She showed him the massive collection of golf balls she had fished out of the ocean. Savoca was very concerned and joined the cleanup effort. The outside of a golf ball is hard plastic. See golf ball breakdown sidebar below. We'll look at that in a minute. In the ocean, the plastic on the balls wears down. Tiny bits of microplastics fall off the balls and into the ocean. Marine animals mistake the bits for food and eat them. So they're not eating the entire golf ball, but they're eating the little floaty bits that are floating away. That can harm or kill the animals. In total, Alex and her crew collected 50,000 golf balls. Savoca thinks the balls they collected would have created more than 60 pounds of microplastics in the ocean. And here it says, not good to eat. Otters and other sea animals can eat the golf balls. Okay, so some creatures might actually grab the whole thing, mistaking them for food. Spreading the word. Alex took detailed notes during the cleanup. She was gathering evidence. This would help her write a report about the project to make other people care about the problem and help fix it. She wrote it with help from her father and Savoca. In January 2018, Alex's report was published in a major scientific journal. Her report offered ideas for solving the plastic problem. One idea was for golf courses to get involved. They could post signs telling golfers not to hit balls toward the ocean. They could educate golfers about golf ball pollution. Golf courses could also work to remove balls from the water. Alex presented her paper to local golf courses. This time the owners paid attention. Now they're cleaning up their act. So some important words to know here. A biologist is a scientist who studies life and living things. The word biologist is connected to the word biology, the study of living things. Microplastics are tiny plastic bits that come from plastic pollution. Marine, relating to Earth's oceans and seas. So they talk about marine animals. You're talking about ocean animals. Marine plants would be ocean plants. So here's a golf ball, stage one. Okay. The plastic exterior, the outside, is shiny and dimpled. That's what a golf ball looks like. Now, after a while, many years, the glossy plastic surface wears away and some dimples remain. But some of it is kind of chipped away or whatever it's done and maybe floated away if it's in the water. Stage 3, the hard plastic chips off. The ball's rubber core is revealed. So it's rubber in the center. All right. I suppose it would just continue to break down if you let it go until those bits of rubber, are floating away and eventually there's not much left. So, we don't live near the ocean and we live out in the country. We don't live in the city. So even what I'm going to show you now is a little bit hard for us to relate to because we live, some of you live in the Village of Winter. I guess you do have city sewer. So maybe if there were drain pipes, if there are drains, I don't know that the village has those though anywhere, maybe. If trash, like plastic bottles that people toss about, end up going down into some drainage pipes, they can actually get into the drain water. And if you live in a city where you're close to the ocean, that wastewater can be pumped, or drain water may be pumped right out into the ocean, which is one way that different kinds of litter and things end up in the oceans, which is really rather sad. Here you have a seagull with, this is like the packaging for like a 6-pack of pop, those plastic rings that hold them when you buy them that way. Those have been found to be very dangerous. They get stuck around an animal's neck or something, and the animal can end up choking or, dying or whatever. It brings harm. It can be wrapped around a leg or whatever. But this kind of stuff is creating a problem in our water system. So someone litters, plastic blows out of a garbage can, it gets blown, washed down a drain, travels through sewers, flows through waterways, and out to sea where it can harm marine life. And then waves and heat from the sun break it into small pieces. And again, then you begin to have the microplastics, which smaller fish and things and little birds or whatever may actually eat. And now they're eating plastic if they're not already wrapped up in it. So the microplastics we probably don't think about. We think about seeing these big pieces of garbage floating and think, yuck, that's gross. But actually, when it does finally break apart, even more dangerous, those microplastics that are happening. I remember when they were selling hand soaps for a while with little micro beads in them, these little tiny flecks of plastic. And they stopped doing that now, I'm pretty sure, because they knew these little beads of plastic end up somewhere in someone's water, and it's just not a good thing. Not a good thing. So there are a few questions you can take a look at to review what we read, but this is getting long, but I'm glad we had this conversation. So how does this apply to our life? If we don't live near the ocean, where maybe we're not golfers, and you're thinking, well, what does it matter to me? I guess what I would say is, can you connect this to yourself? We all use plastic, and I know that I use too much plastic. And how often do we think about where it's going to end up? Do we try to recycle? Do we try to use less plastic? Do we refill things? Do we reuse containers that could be reused in a different way so that we're not constantly using new plastic and then tossing it away? I know many people have switched to shopping bags. When they go to the grocery store, they take bags that they use over and over again. They take the bags with handles into the store, and when they pack their groceries, instead of taking the grocery plastic sacks that the store has, they're actually packing their groceries into their own bags and reusing those bags over and over and over again, which I think is a wonderful idea. And that is something that I need to get better at. Because those plastic bags, as thin and cheap as they are, we go through so many of them. That might be one way that you or your family could make a change. Maybe drinking more water from the tap instead of buying all of those plastic bottles. Things like that you could brainstorm. Reducing what we throw away might be one way to connect yourself to a topic like this. So what is your carbon footprint? That means, what are you leaving behind as a human on Earth? Are you doing what you can to make the Earth a better place to be, a better place to hang out for humans and animals and plants? So something to think about.